Hello and welcome to today's video, and today we're going to be focusing on a bit of a piece of my collection history. So I've had this from new, and when I was a lot younger, back in the 1980s, we used to collect these from our local Ford dealer because I rather liked them. And we still have the original dealer stamp. It was Buncombe's Garage in Highbridge in Somerset. Unfortunately the garage has long gone, and the Buncombe's name is still fairly well known in certain racing circles, because I think the owner's son, or one of the sons, actually went off into professional racing of some description. So it is still quite a well-known name if you know where to look. But unfortunately the Ford dealership itself closed a very long time ago. It was certainly one of the best dealerships that I remember. They were always very happy to entertain my enthusiasm as a young child I would have been at the time. And given that it was the 1980s and health and safety wasn't really too much of a concern, I was very often allowed to go and have a look around the garage itself and actually look at what cars they were working on. So some very happy memories for me there. I've got a number of these. I need to dig them out from my mother's loft, but I've found this one the other day, which is a Ford accessories brochure, and it dates from, I'm gonna hazard a guess, about 1988 or so. There might be a date marker somewhere on the back page. No, there isn't. No, there's no obvious date markers. But it really does have a range of very period accessories, let's say. So we start off with Ford Telecommunications, obviously here showing a rather nice Granada. Actually looks, judging by the wheels, it might actually be a Scorpio. And this rather nice cellular telecommunications device, in other words a car phone. We also have, coming up, some rather nice RS accessories. But we start off with the Ford audio selection. And Ford were sort of pretty big on offering a range of different audio systems for their owners and buyers and other people that owned Fords to actually sort of purchase for their car. So quite ahead of time in that sort of respect. You've got these two sets, which you could argue were a little bit more basic, although they do come with Dolby and auto reverse, which is quite nice. But then you get into the premium section, and if you bought your Ford new, say a Mark IV Escort, Sierra, Granada, etc., you actually had the option to have some of these actually out of the factory. So we got here the radio cassette with the power amplifier, which was a really nice accessory for the time. There was also the optional graphic equalizer, which I remember seeing in a number of cars, which was also rather impressive. And that was coupled to quite a high-end cassette deck. They really were, for the day, certainly sort of pretty good for what they were. This was rather interesting. Never actually saw that, but that was a 200 watt computer equalizer, but I never actually saw one of those in real life, unfortunately. Never saw one of those either, but I do remember going around scrapyards in the early 2000s and seeing high-end Granadas that did have this set up in the back, and that was a nice little option. The rear seat entertainment centre, so you could actually get a pair of headphones, one for each passenger, which you would plug in and you would be able to listen to audio from the head unit, so be it radio or cassette. So let's have a look at some of the other things you could get at the time. So there were also a range of additional speaker options that you could go for, so if you so desired you could get yourself a nice range of speakers depending on what you required. Also a range of centre consoles available as well. Looks like that one there would fit a probably a Mark II Fiesta. Some of the other ones here shown with those little tape consoles that you used to be able to get But really a sort of a number of things that you could actually do with your car, which you can't sort of really do now as it's all included. You could also get a heated rear window aerial, which is quite good, so that meant you had no external aerial which could be vandalised. And then we come on to the lighting and vision section. Ford were always sort of really big on spot lamps in the 1980s, so you could sort of deck out your car with some rather nice spot lamps, which would always sort of seem to look really good. A range of rear lamps there, which you could use for reversing, and also fog lamps. There's a lot of models of that sort of era, certainly from the 70s, didn't actually come with a standard reverse or fog lamp. Also a nice underbonnet lamp, these rather interesting period looking high level brake lamps as well. Also side repeaters if you're not so equipped. And then what else have we got? We had the torch key, that was a nice little feature. Also these rather stylish sports mirrors, which look pretty good, they look rather nice. And what else could you get? Oh, you could get a rear wash wipe system as well, so if that was not included you could have that. Also get these caravan towing mirrors, which would be quite useful. A dip-in rear view mirror here, and external or exterior rear view mirrors here, which some cars didn't actually come with a passenger mirror, so you would have to purchase those separately. When we look at the touring section, we've got some very 80s looking people, looking very sporty. We've got a nice ladder here on the stylish roof rack, which it's one of those ones that I think clamps inside the door lip and over the gutter. They were sort of tended to be specifically designed for the car itself. One thing about the Granada and the Sierra was they actually had mounting points for roof bars actually put into the roof itself, because they had this sort of aerodynamic door design. There was no sort of gutter as such, the actual gutter was inside there, so you had these mounting points that you could mount a roof rack onto. And that was something that was certainly on the Granada and the Sierra Sapphire, that was quite an interesting and sort of forward-looking feature for the time. Other range of roof racks also available, including a more traditional style roof rack, but also these roof bars which would fit onto the Sierra estate. Certain estate versions of the Sierra did come with these roof rails already included, so you could fit roof bars and obviously have your Sierra with a stylish roof rack for load purposes. And many different sort of purposes: cycle carrier, ski carrier, sort of standard sort of luggage carrier, an actual sort of early example of a roof box there as well, which is quite cool. And then we come on to some other features such as the dog guard, snow chains, which you don't really seem to see anymore. What's this? Number C, rear head restraints, obviously depending on the model. Front head restraints, again depending on the model. Various tow bars and other options available. These side window deflectors, which went away for a number of years but now seem to be making their way back into fashion. These, which I've always loved, the sunroof air deflector, always really liked those. I think they look, especially on sort of Fords of this era, they look absolutely fantastic. We had a Capri 3 litre which had one of these, and it really set the car off. I don't know why, I've always liked these. I think they look fantastic. Range of pop-out sunroofs, which you sort of literally cut into the roof, and the bit that I always liked, the RS sports accessories, including my two of my favourite steering wheel designs, and also some of my favourite alloy wheel designs as well. Always really liked these. What I sort of particularly liked was where you had all of the major models lined up, so Fiesta, Escort, Sierra, Capri, Granada, each with the stylish 7-spoke RS alloys. In this case here, the Capri actually looks like it's got a set of 15-inch 7 spokes with the RS logo. Same story here with the Granada. But you can sort of see here you've got the Escort, that looks like a Mark IV with some Nice 7-spoke RS flat face type alloys, and also a body kit as well, which is quite pleasant. And the Fiesta here even looks good in both Mark 1 and Mark 2 form. That sort of really has brought the looks of the Fiesta together, especially with that sort of nice stripe down the side on the Mark 1. There was also available more accessories for sort of body kit, etc. This is quite interesting. This is a 1.6 GL, I think. Yes, they used a 1.6 GL there to demonstrate that. Range of body kit and alloy accessories there for the Orion. Again here, nice rear spoiler treatment for the Sierra. These always look good, these kits on the Sierra. They always sort of did quite look the part. Especially on the Sierra Sapphire as well, with the sort of discrete rear spoiler treatment. They did look pretty good. This is a Capri, and that is a Capri Turbo style rear spoiler. In this case actually sort of shown here as part of the sort of optional body kit for the Capri. And I've got to admit, it looks... I mean, the Capri is a stunning looking car to begin with, in my humble opinion, especially the Capri 78/Mark III/Carla, whatever you want to call it. But when you sort of put in a bit of discrete body styling, coupled with that rear spoiler, that nice deep chin front spoiler, and those dished 7-spoke RS alloys, it just looks fantastic. I mean, what an absolutely gorgeous car. Really does look the part. And something that I have actually begun liking again. I sort of started to hate them for a while, but now I'm beginning to like them again in the same way I did in the late 80s, is the Mark III Granada. I mean, especially with the body kit, it's a good looking car. They sort of had this sort of hated period for me where I just didn't like them, as they were pretty much everywhere. But when they weren't that common, and you know, they'd sort of literally just sort of come out in about 1985, 86 or so, I thought they looked brilliant. I still prefer the Mark II and the Mark 1, but I would not turn down a Mark III, especially in Scorpio 4x4 form. And if it came with that body kit and that rear boot spoiler, I'm sold. I would more than happily have one. But if the Capri came along looking like that, yeah, sorry, Capri every time for me. We then had a range of appearance and protection options, including standard off-the-shelf alloys for the different models, chromed special wheel caps, wheel trims, locking nuts, special security nuts, etc. Set of wheel trims there. And these things, these were called wheel trim rings, also known as beauty rings, chrome embellishers. I used to have, or my mum used to have, a 1.1 litre 1980 Fiesta 1.1 GL in jade green metallic, which had these beauty rings. A few of them were missing, but the one that was present actually did sort of set the steel wheel off rather nicely. I wish I could have actually got a set of a complete set and fitted them, as they did actually set it off really well. These were all for rage at the time as well. These sort of special treatment infill panels. Tacky or not, I don't know, it depends on what you think. And they did go rather well with these backflash things. I've got an example here for the XR3. So yeah, the old the backflash, very stylish for the time. Bumper overriders, that was a nice sort of thing you could purchase. The evergreen mud flaps, again, something else quite handy. Rubbing strips with reflectors, that was quite nifty. And lock-in fuel filler caps, also rather nice. And a few other little bits and pieces as well, such as the anti-theft alarm, and also a central door locking kit. So if you didn't have central locking, you could actually fit it yourself if you really wanted. Then we come on to spoilers, and there were a number of different spoilers available. Here's one here on this rather handsome looking Mark II Granada. They were always quite a nice looking spoiler. Nice front spoiler here on the Orion. Front spoiler there on the Mark III Granada. Two different treatments of Sierra spoiler there, and a rather discreet finish spoiler there for the Granada. and also what I would sort of call a traditional Capri spoiler. You typically sort of found these sort of spoilers on the S models, and yeah, they didn't look too bad. They served a purpose, and they looked pretty good, to be honest with you. Then we have the floor mats and other bits and pieces. So we've got a nice set of seat covers. These were going out of fashion at the time, but you could still get them, and they're actually surprisingly comfortable as well. And also these tailored floor mats, which looked very good, and especially you could sort of get these winter mats as well, which also look good. You don't seem to get them in this style anymore, but I always rather liked them because they were pretty hard wearing as well. These were good for sort of winter, very similar to the Canon range of mats that you sort of used to get at the time as well, sort of very period aftermarket mat provider. And there are also sort of other options like this luggage retention, this load cover, this whole coverage set up here to protect your boot floor. Always like this on D, which was an anti-slip mat. Always thought that was rather nice. Illuminated rear visor. A digital clock which sat in the overhead console, which was rather cool. Cigar lighter, various gear knobs, especially that one there. You used to see those a lot on sportier Fords, so they look quite exciting. And also this retractable loading platform, suitable for Sierra and Granada estate car owners. Not sure how useful that would have been, but certainly looks good. And also a lockable load box cover, so you could actually have that. I'm not sure where that would actually live. Fiesta up to 883 only. So the Fiesta, Mark 1 Fiesta, had these sort of compartment underneath the boot floor, and it was sort of divided into two sections. So one section had the spare wheel, the other section had, if I remember rightly, the reservoir for the rear wash wipe. So if I remember rightly, I think they were even separated into two panels, and you could actually buy a separate panel which you could use. That was D, I think. Yeah, for Fiesta. Oh, sorry, that's for all Fiesta models. Yeah, it's the glove box there. That's not for the Mark II. But yeah, these floor panels you could put into the Fiesta, and you could lock valuables under the floor. Due to the sort of interesting design that the underfloor area had. So I never saw any of those out in the wild, but they did exist. You could fit them if you wanted. Also a range of safety and emergency options as well, such as the child safety seat. It's rather fun looking booster cushion, and rear seat belts. Again, they weren't standard on all cars, and various other bits and pieces like these height adjustable seat belts. This green, actually, I remember my Uncle Ian had a Cortina 2-litre GL and a nice dark metallic green. I've forgotten the exact name, might have been forest green metallic, I can't remember off the top of my head. But he had, in said Cortina, a really nice green velour interior in that colour. I thought it looked really good at the time, as it was quite unusual, and it suited the car really well. That was a nice car. I don't know what happened to it, but that was a lovely car. Other range of options such as jump leads, two-tone horns, petrol cans, tow ropes, triangles, first aid kits, fire extinguishers, all of that sort of stuff, ideal if you're doing a lot of travelling. Then car maintenance, car care type items such as a basic toolkit, a range of obviously sort of motor oils, tyre brace, spark plug removal tools, also a range of automatic transmission fluids, brake and clutch fluids, various different sprays, touch-up paints, chamois, or chamois, however you pronounce it, and a range of car care products as well. You could buy all of those from your Ford dealer, which was quite cool. And that sort of brings you to the end. You've got a whole range of items in your Ford shop which you could actually go for, including this little 12-volt vacuum cleaner, a range of batteries from Varta, those very period touch pop-up sunroof things, speaker sets, centre consoles, alloys, you name it, you could get something to customise your Ford. And there was just loads of stuff available. I don't think you ever had sort of like a whole shop front that looked like that, but you could certainly get an awful lot. I mean, including a socket set of all things. They would actually sell you a socket set because they acknowledged that people like to work on their own cars. I mean, it's rather nice actually. This thing here, these were, you sometimes saw these, not a lot, but you sometimes did see these in various cars. They had a little thing on there to cut the seatbelt and a little hammery thing there to smash the side window. And yep, obviously sort of various bits about the parts and service, the fact that you use Motorcraft quality parts. In fact, there is a nice little advert there for Motorcraft parts. And yeah, it looks like you could also get a range of bags and briefcases and wallets as well, which is rather nice. And also clothing. Nice little touch of class there. And I think that actually brings us, yeah, brings us to the end. So a nice little trip down memory lane there. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this, don't forget to hit the like button, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, take care, and see you soon.